Virgos, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast for March 7th through the 13th of 2016. I'm Athen. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link down below because the signs are different. All right, so Virgo, very transformative week. As you might imagine, we've got a solar eclipse on Tuesday and Wednesday associated with the South Node, which is about releasing old energies, coming to acceptance of energies. And it's through that acceptance of our perspective of these areas of life, we come to spiritual liberation and freedom, which is then propelling us into that new life path direction. So that's what it's all about. It's involving those nodes, and this solar eclipse is involving the South Node, which is about releasing energies. So let's go and look at this for you in your chart. You've got the South Node who's been leaving your 7th house and going into your 6th house. So I think your 6th house is technically where it's going to be, but it's right on the cusp. The strongest energy, I think, will be the 6th. And this is also seen by the fact that your North Node is certainly in that 12th. So this new life path is shifted into you becoming more aware of the spiritual side of life, you connecting to your spiritual self. For some of you, it might be through meditation. For others, it might be through relaxation, through dream analysis. It's really just about understanding more about yourself on that spiritual level. So whatever this has been, you've been learning quite a bit about this deeper side of yourself lately, I would say, with Jupiter here. It is retrograde, so it's a bit reflective in this nature, but there's a lot of support, there's a lot of insight still unfolding for you to make these new shifts into connecting with essentially God and essentially your higher spiritual self. So to do that in a healthy sense, we have to come to terms with the South Node in terms of we have to come to this spiritual liberation, because with the South Node, we might be wanting things, there might be yearnings, there might be over-under extremes involving these areas. Now, involving that 6, which I think is going to be the strongest energy of the eclipse, is that there might be over-under extremes with your work or with your self-improvement, your diet, your regimens, your analytical ability. This is your house. And so it's everything that's about managing and taking care of things, and it's usually in the immediate everyday environment. So if you are feeling any over under extremes with that in any capacity, could be at work or whatever it is you do on a daily level, it's accepting. And it's through that acceptance we come to that spiritual liberation. Could also be healing too, because it is very much involving Chiron. Now the healing side of it has shifted into your 7th though, with Chiron recently making his way into Pisces. So the key with this is that over the past 2 years, you've already been releasing, I think, a lot of energies that are over under extremes or old perspectives of relationships, interrelationships. And so there's a little bit of that, and I think healing in regards to that, if you are feeling any wounds or insecurities around that area of life, or maybe around the daily stuff or your work, it's again, acceptance can really go a long ways, and that could be an area of spiritual liberation for you. Now, this week's aspects, and we do have quite a bit, is all related to the solar eclipse, which will be on that Tuesday and Wednesday. So let's go and look at this leading into it. Monday, we have the sun sextiling up to Pluto, which is this opening, this new insight, perhaps, maybe from the previous weekend, some sort of new perspective or something, which is all about a willingness to change, or at least there's an opportunity for change. So this might be a change with, again, the work, the diet, the regiments, the routine. And so whatever that is, it's great drive, great motivation to actualize that this early part of the week, to just be open to change. That could also be change with your emotional level, home, family, past, or health as well. Now, this is a new moon energy, so it's good to kind of go within and reflect, especially around this early part of the week. And there are insights coming in of the spiritual energy type. Now, also leading into it, the sun's going to be opposing up to Jupiter, again suggesting the importance of balance. And here's where we come into the pivotal point of this whole eclipse energy, is that once you have this spiritual connection to your work, in other words, you have the acceptance and the gratitude for whatever it is you do on that daily level, that will help propel you into a much freer, a much easier, the 12th house is really the house of happiness, but it's the type of happiness that comes from acceptance, the meditative, the spiritual type of happiness. And so to move into your life path, which is to learn more about this, you do have to have the foundation set in terms of you personally, you spiritually, with these daily activities. So, or whatever it is here in the 6th. So it's through that acceptance which will help propel you into that. But with this Jupiter, it's all about balance, right? And with the sun too, which is the opposition this week. So seeing them as one and the same, that you can't have spirituality without a good routine, without a good regiment, without good time management, energy management. There's no time to relax then otherwise. And vice versa, you can't have spirituality, you can't have your routine, you can't have work if it doesn't mean anything, if it isn't spiritual and there's no presence involved in it. So merging those two is really key, and that's the key of the eclipses. Now, Wednesday, we do have some sign changes. The sun's going to go into that 7th house. So for the next month or so, you're going to have this illumination, I think more focus on relationships, on cultivating them. This part of the week, this week, there's some healing taking place with the sun going over Chiron around Thursday and Friday again. So the more open you are to that healing. But nonetheless, for the next month, it's good to express yourself within those relationships, to exchange. That can be a good source of energy and prana for you. Now, Venus is going into Aquarius, which is your 6th house. So with this eclipse, there's definitely things shifting. And the shift is that focus on relationships, but also perhaps seeing the beauty and the enjoyments of the routine, of the work, of whatever it is you're structuring on a daily level. So that's nice for the next few weeks there. Then Mars also shifting into Scorpio midweek. Okay, so here there's motivation and drive, I think, to communicate your ideas or to express yourself. This has been a more serious area for you with Saturn in the 3rd, which has been helping you really discipline your mind, discipline your communication, take the patient approach. But now Mars in here can really help drive that, motivate that. You can be very assertive with your ideas and perhaps learning as well. And those things such as reading and writing and communicating can be good sources of motivation for you. Now, Thursday and Friday, we got that sun going over Chiron. Again, the healing there. We've got Mercury, your ruler, going over Neptune. So there might be some uncertainty and doubt coming into the picture, but this is all dependent on how we work with these energies in our personal charts. All right, so it's not necessarily for all of you. But the key with this is that if you are feeling uncertainty, if you are feeling the doubt, it's about your propensity to go with the flow. The greater your propensity is to go with the flow and to accept things and to go into the unknown, especially again with the daily stuff, then it actually becomes very spiritually liberating, very peaceful, in fact. It's a neutral sort of aspect, and it's all about you finding the spiritual intuitive current that is floating along your daily experiences. Now, Jupiter is also trining up to Pluto, which is fantastic, actually, considering all this other very deep transformational stuff. Pluto in Jupiter in harmonious aspect is all about a willingness to change. And I think as the weekend unfolds and as we approach it, there's this willingness to change and to move into this new direction of spirituality, of peace, of presence, of acceptance, of easygoingness, of happiness, which happens in the present moment. These kinds of matters. So whatever it is for you personally, there's a lot of support for this. And this could also be, again, change with the emotional body, change with your home, family, past roots, your health, which could enable this perhaps. Now the sun does conjoin up to the south node, topping off the weekend on Friday in that 7th house. So now you have this awareness of the sun shining into the attachments or the deep things in life involving relationships, which can help you understand more about them. And it's that illumination that is actually giving you the insight, which again is helping you propel and move into this north node energy of spirituality. All right, Virgo, so have an excellent week. If you guys have any questions, please let me know, and I'll see you guys all next week.